No! Ah! 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 I know you didn't ask, but I've been feeling like absolute dog shit recently. Life recently feels like an endless loop of negative emotions. I attempt to inspire hope and gratitude into myself, and after a day or two I'll just become disappointed again, resentful, frustrated and lonely. This cycle is non-stop, and to be honest I don't know if it will ever end, because it could be simply what living is. Maybe the people you're surrounded with are pessimistic. You see no light at the end of the tunnel, and every time you're hopeful you're disappointed after a few days. Maybe you feel incredibly lonely and angry with everything you're given, or perhaps habitually you're just a negative person and you're tired of it. In this video I'm going to share some skills you can upgrade on your skill tree to start fighting back against pessimism and hopelessness. We should hope to become stronger and more capable instead of hoping to receive better things. I know you don't really care, but I want to share about my recent struggle to remain positive. I think remaining positive and cheerful is something that requires so much strength. The other day I was shopping for groceries with my family, and then there was a cashier and a long queue behind the cashier. So we lined up, and I noticed that even though it was closing hours, even though the cashier was probably hurrying to get home to her kids, hurrying to get home to her family, and despite that there was a long queue that could easily drag her out of her working hours, but she remained positive and she remained cheerful. She greeted and politely addressed each customer that she had to serve. All the customers, because I'm assuming it's late at night, they were all cold to her. None of them reciprocated her kindness, her politeness. They gave me so much respect for positive people, and that made me so sad that the world is such a cold place and people can't even put in the effort to smile for people. That's what inspires me. She did not have to be so cheerful, didn't have to be so polite, but she held on to it because she felt like that was her nature. That was who she wanted to be. That was how she wanted to express herself. This seemingly insignificant situation gives me so much strength and reminded me why I want to be positive. Not because of some superficial horseshit virtuous reasons, but the energy will inspire and fuel the strong people around you. Remaining positive, continuing to smile no matter how the world treats you, is something I respect so much and something that I will always strive for. For a long time now, my mom has been walking around the house complaining about how meaningless life is every single day. My father looks so drained and stressed out. My sister will come home to me and share with me every single day about her mentally unhealthy friends, her friends who are promiscuous teenagers, and it just saddens me. My social media is flooded with red pill content, which slowly and accumulative destroys my image of woman.
A fat fucking 10?
I feel insufficient and guilty because my mom tells her family members that I'm lazy and I do nothing, and she berates me for using my time for mental health habits because to her it's a waste of time. Since I take an unconventional path and pour a lot of effort into YouTube with nothing to show, there's nothing I can say to defend myself. It's never easy to hear the same thing multiple times a week and have no defense for it, and no matter how much I communicate, they still keep doing it. It's constantly at the back of my head, the guilt, the frustration, the confusion, and the insufficiency. It's embarrassing to say, but I also sometimes get very jealous of wimpy and soft, squishy men being able to find girlfriends. So let's become more positive, shift our mindsets to hope for the better, and become more excited for tomorrow. I'm going to talk about methods to deal with pessimistic people, and after that, how we can internally influence ourselves to become more positive people. First of all, obviously, it's not your responsibility to save people from their situation, unless you're a paid therapist or parent. How they choose to behave is entirely not your problem. The most you can do is be honest about how you feel about their pessimism and their anger outbursts. You can tell them you wish to surround yourself with positive people, and many times they are not. But if you wish to continue your relationship, you should never opt to tolerate. You torture them with passive aggressiveness, resentment, and even sometimes anger outbursts. So you should always communicate if you intend to continue your relationship. Ideally, we want to surround ourselves with positive people, but this is not what this video is about. So let's talk about how we can deal with pessimistic people that we're obligated to be around. First, we can try counteracting their negativity with positivity. Reply in a hopeful way. When they realize that negativity falls on deaf ears, they might just shut up. You can also remind them of a positive moment they have. Hey, remember when you performed on stage and everybody cheered for you and you were so delighted afterwards, and that was such a fulfilling moment for you. Or you can say, dude, look at the sky. Look at the trees. Look around you. Naive children not being afraid of expressing their emotions. Elderly people still managing to remain hopeful after all they have seen. This is a beautiful world, man. I think that trying to reason with their pessimism is almost never going to work unless they are a very logical person. So don't try to do that, but see it as a battle. Keep your positive energy intact. Visualize the powerful light emanating out of you, and don't let anyone influence it. Hold on to it tight. Focus on keeping it bright with all your might. See what I did there? Huh? See what I did there, huh? See why I did that? Second, there will be situations where of course you can't distance from them. They could be a relative or family member. For these situations, we have to learn to detach emotionally when they have proved they are a negative person over a long period of time. You can only remain kind and warm, but no longer take anything they say to heart. No longer actually listen unless the situation calls for it. Shut off your empathy. After you have confronted them and had a conversation about it, and they are still persistently pessimistic, it is not your responsibility. If you try to make it your responsibility, you're bigoted, naive, narcissistic, and incredibly self-centered. Sure, you can learn things from anyone, but I don't think it's worth sacrificing your time and capacity to listen sincerely to negative people, because the effect of pessimism is very, very difficult to resist. Be transparent with your emotions and how their negativity affects you. Some of them might even call you insensitive and petty. My mother would sometimes use the phrase, "Oh, you just can't handle the truth." Negative people can't handle arguments in that moment. They might have anger outbursts. Wait for them to calm down, to have a civil discussion. In those moments, we can only understand to not take it personally. They are projecting emotions, which again is their problem. And if consequences come, they deserve the consequences. We don't have to punish them. Now, how can we internally influence ourselves to become more positive people? We have to habitually force ourselves to think hopefully. True, you can be deluding yourself, but if you don't want to be negative, chances are you genuinely want to be a positive person. And in many ways, both negative and positive people are deluded in some way. Yes, you might be deluding yourself sometimes, or even all the time, but that's your nature. You do what it takes to be positive. Smile to lift the spirits around you. That's who you are. That's who you want to be. So who cares if you're deluding yourself? We must also make it a discipline to take care of our mental health. Recently, I've started to make it a discipline to go hiking and go to the library every single day. I'll go hiking once a week. Even if I don't feel like it, even if I don't think I need it, I make it a routine. I make it a must. Go to the gym, play chess, play piano. Have hobbies that allow you to express yourself. Take walks alone, journal and meditate. Productive momentum gives you self-respect, gives you progress to look forward to. Have a reason to get out of bed every morning, and it keeps you strong to have goals in mind. Prioritize your own needs. It is very important that you have things on your list which you absolutely need to do in order to take care of your mental health, no matter how guilty and anxious it makes you. If you don't do this, frustration and resentment will hang over your head, and you'll become increasingly pessimistic. I have a video on this topic in the description below if you're interested. I cannot stress how respectable and badass it is to remain positive. Being all cold and nihilistic is getting kinda cringe, alright? It's still kinda cool, but it's not that sustainable. And many times that focus that these people are trying to project is not authentic. Many of those who put up this cold front to show everyone how much they've given up and how concentrated they are on their goals is to cope with their loneliness. I think that these people mostly long for someone to come along and hug them and let them know they're not alone. I've been like that for a while, but I held on to so much anger and resentment within. It makes you unapproachable and makes you weak because you have surrendered to your frustrations. What happened to smiling when things get tough? What happened to motivating one another? It's time we become the light in the dark. We should keep fighting to stay positive. So many times I want to let myself descend into this cold, shut-off persona, but I knew subconsciously that doing that was a form of expression. I wanted to let everyone know that you guys never came to get me. You guys made me feel unwanted, unappreciated, and look what you turned me into. It was a cry for help. It was a cry for company. And if that was my mindset, that would mean that being cold, angry, and focused must mean I still crave external validation for my suffering, for people to respect my suffering. Because I have so much to be angry about, I let myself go. After a year or two of being this way, nobody came to save me. I became even more lonely, even more angry. I let people down. People fear talking to me because I'm always so shut off. I always look so dismissive and rejecting of them. Letting myself go down that path is weakness. Strong people are those who remain cheerful no matter what, who remain hopeful and driven even if nothing is going for them, because they understand that there's no better way to live. Being positive helps you remain excited to make progress, gives you less reason to dive into bad habits. You'll be more productive, more excited, more motivated, more compassionate, more playful. You'll be fun to be around, safe to be around, and you'll be humorous. My mother sat me down yesterday and told me it pains her to watch me work so hard just for 72 subscribers. Sounds pretty cringe in a sentence, but it was really painful to hear. And she keeps preparing me for failure, which honestly is not what I want to hear. It's so difficult to keep going despite nothing of substance coming together. But this is all I know how to do. I watched my parents throw away their freedom and sell their souls to the rat race. So many ill and disabled people praying for the opportunity I have, for the comfort I have. Who am I to give up now? I am committing to this, and in a few months I'm gonna look back astounded by how much progress I've made. There's nothing I can really say to give you that spark of hope you wish to be ignited. It's never going to come because chances are you've You've had so many sparks of hope, and these sparks led to nothing. You eventually were disappointed again. And after a while, as we grow up, this spark of hope, this inspiration and excitement to confront the next moment, slowly decreases in magnitude because we always seem to fall back into the same spot. What we can hold on to, however, is gratitude and appreciation. Affectionate parents, youth, children playing and screaming at the playgrounds, elderly people who still give it their best shot to remain positive and hopeful, even though they don't have much time left to live. Busy cashiers and waiters putting on a smile despite the stress they are under. These little things around us, this unspoken camaraderie and respect we have for each other. We see beauty in each other's actions, in each other's expressions and choices. That's why we continue to have hope. That's why we look forward to tomorrow. And that's why we will continue to try. Maybe one day when we organize ourselves, become something of substance, we can build wonderful relationships, see and experience wonderful things, watching everybody continue to try, watching people wallow in self-pity, watching the sun set and rise. Everything we see, everyone we meet, there is some beauty to it. These methods to combat negativity has definitely helped me, but what never betrays me, what I can trust the most, is my gratefulness and appreciation for the beauty around me. That's what really keeps me going. It is so important to remain mindful and be conscious of the beauty you notice. Keep the focus on that. There will be many awful feelings and upsetting distractions that will try to take away your ability to see this beauty. But take a walk alone. Watch how people interact. Watch the passing cars. Watch those in the gym fighting their hardest to become better. Watch how parents communicate with their children. Look at the sun and the sky. Oh, how can we forget how bloody beautiful this place is amidst all the chaos. To better walk.